Hello, my fellow animal lovers. How are you today? Before I ferry you to dreamland, if you love the content and you love animals, I want you to support the channel by subscribing. By the way, tell us where you are in the world. What time is it over there? I look forward to reading all your comments. Get comfortable. Your story is about to begin. Enjoy. Chapter 1: The Inky Soil. The day has turned its face away. The last orange light has slipped below the gentle curve of the world, leaving behind a sky of deep, soft indigo. In the warm air of a central Texas night, a stillness settles over the grassy hillsides. The air is thick and quiet, carrying the scent of dry grass, of sun-baked earth, and the faint, clean promise of distant rain. It is a soft blanket of warmth that rests upon the land. Above, the moon begins its slow climb. It is not yet full, but its light is enough. It is a pale, silvery wash that spills across the ground, touching everything with a gentle, cool glow. It dapples the earth, making shadows long and soft. It turns the familiar world into a place of quiet mystery. The light doesn't reveal everything, it only suggests. It traces the edges of stones and the tips of grass blades. It paints the ground in shades of silver and deep, velvety black. Let your attention drift down, away from the vastness of the sky, and settle on the ground itself. Feel the gentle pull downwards into the quiet embrace of the earth. The ground here is not just dirt. It is a deep and ancient blanket, woven from time and patience. It is the dark, rich soil, the inky black stuff, full of the history of everything that has come before. It is a place of compost and decay, of worms and roots, a place where life is not lost but transformed. This is the soil of gestation, of germination. It is the darkness where seeds are not buried to be forgotten, but planted so they can become something new. It is a darkness that holds potential, a darkness that is safe, and in this quiet, moonlit world, a small life is at work. She is a trapdoor spider. She is small, perhaps only an inch long, with a stout, compact body, the color of the dark, damp earth. Her body is shiny, like a polished stone, a deep and earthy brown that blends perfectly with the shadows. She belongs to an ancient line of spiders, the mygalomorphs, creatures who have known the earth for many, many years. Her design is old and perfect for her purpose. Unlike other spiders, her fangs do not pinch together from the sides. They move straight down, like two tiny sharp pickaxes, made for digging, for carving a space for herself out of the world. She is beginning a great work. It is a work she will only do once, and it will last her entire life. She is building her home. There is no haste in her movements. Everything is slow, deliberate, and full of an unhurried purpose. She presses her body to the ground, a patch of soil chosen for its stability, for its slight slope that will help keep out the rain. Using the special rake-like spines on her jaws, a tool called a rastellum, she begins to dig. She doesn't scrabble at the dirt. She carefully loosens the soil, particle by particle. Her fangs cut into the earth, and she gathers a small load of soil between her chelicerae, her jaws. She turns, carries the small parcel of earth away from the opening, and deposits it a short distance away. Then she returns and begins again. Slowly, a space begins to form. A perfect circular opening appears in the skin of the earth, and from that opening, a tunnel begins its descent. It is a slow and patient excavation. Particle by particle, journey by journey, the tunnel deepens. It is a straight vertical shaft going down into the profound quiet of the ground, down into the darkness that is cooler than the sun-baked surface, down into the stillness. The burrow will not be very deep, perhaps only 6 or 8 inches, just enough to create a world of its own, a world sheltered from the heat of the day to come, a world hidden from the eyes of hunting birds or the keen senses of a parasitic wasp. This is more than a hole in the ground. It is a sanctuary she is making. It is a space that will be her entire universe. She will live here for her whole life, a life that could be surprisingly long, perhaps 5 or 10 or even 20 years. This burrow will be her castle, her nursery, her hunting blind, and her final resting place. Within these earthen walls, she will be safe. She will lay her eggs here, wrapping them in a soft silk cocoon, and she will guard her young until they are ready to leave. The act of digging is the act of creating a world. The burrow is a womb, a space carved out of the vastness where life can be held and nurtured in the deep, generative quiet. It is a place of profound safety, a pocket of stillness in a world of movement. It is a retreat, a place to simply be, a place to rest, deep in the heart of the cool, dark earth. Chapter 2: The Hidden Door. The burrow is dug, a simple, perfect cylinder descending into the earth. But the work is not finished. Now begins the most delicate and patient part of the construction. Now she will make her door, and to make the door, she must first make silk. Think of spider silk. It is a wonder. It is not a dead fiber, but a liquid protein held inside the spider's body. It is her own essence, waiting to be given form. When she needs it, she does not push it out. She gently pulls it from her spinnerets, tiny organs on her abdomen, and as it meets the air, it transforms. The liquid becomes a solid thread, a filament so thin it is almost invisible, yet so strong it is, by weight, more durable than steel. It is also soft and flexible, able to stretch without breaking. It is a material of contradictions, strong and gentle, resilient and fine. It is the substance of her world. Her first task is to secure the walls of her home. She moves down into the dark tube and begins to coat the raw earth. She uses her own saliva, mixing it with the soil to create a kind of waterproof plaster. She smooths it over the walls, making them firm. Then she begins to spin. She releases her silk, not in strands, but in a broad, continuous sheet. She turns and turns within her burrow, lining the entire length of the tunnel with this soft white fabric. This lining is not just for comfort, it is a vital part of her home's design. It reinforces the walls, preventing collapse, and crucially, it helps to maintain the perfect stable humidity inside her burrow, a tiny microclimate that keeps her safe from the dryness of the world above. The silk is her wallpaper, her insulation, her fortress wall. Now she moves to the entrance. The creation of the door is an act of artistry, a slow and patient sculpture. She brings up tiny pellets of soil from the bottom of her burrow. She takes one pellet, holds it at the rim of the opening, and carefully binds it with threads of fresh silk. She presses it into place, molding it. Then she brings another pellet and another, layering soil and silk, building out from the rim. The most important part is the hinge. This requires the most precision. She concentrates her work on one small section of the door's edge. She adds more silk here, weaving it into the silken lining of the burrow's rim. She builds up this one spot, making it strong but flexible. This will be the hinge, the pivot point for her creation. The rest of the door is a perfect circle, or perhaps a D shape, with a beveled edge designed to fit the opening flawlessly, leaving no gaps. Sometimes the door is a thin, light wafer of silk and soil, a wafer lid. Sometimes, for spiders in harder soil, it is a thick, heavy plug like a cork, built from many layers. Each year, as she grows, she will add a new ring of silk and soil to her door, so that its age can be read in its concentric circles, like the rings of a tree. The final touch is the art of disappearance. The door is built, but it is still visible. So she begins the work of camouflage. She gathers tiny bits of her immediate surroundings, a fragment of dried leaf, a piece of moss, a single pine needle, a few grains of sand. One by one, she affixes these to the outer surface of the door, using tiny dabs of silk as glue. She works until the door is no longer a door. It is simply a patch of the forest floor. It is indistinguishable from the ground around it, a secret hidden in plain sight. This door is a remarkable thing. It is a boundary between her inner world and the world outside, but it is a boundary made of both worlds. It is built from her own substance, her silk, and from the substance of the land, its soil and leaves. In making it, she has merged her own identity with her home. The door is a part of her, and it is a part of the landscape. It is a quiet statement of belonging. She is not hiding from the world. She has become one with it. For some spiders, the connection extends even further. They spin fine threads of silk that radiate outwards from the door's rim, like the spokes of a wheel. These are her trip lines. They are an extension of her awareness, a net of feeling cast out across the surface of the earth, allowing her to listen to the world from the safety of her silent, hidden home. Chapter 3. Listening to the ground. Now she is inside. The door is closed. The world above is sealed away. Here, in the cool, humid darkness of her silk-lined tube, she enters her true element. For the world of the Trapdoor Spider is not a world of sight. Her 8 small eyes see very little, just the difference between light and dark, the vague impression of movement. Her reality is not built from images, it is built from feeling. Her world is a world of vibrations. Her entire body is a single, exquisitely tuned sensory instrument. She does not have ears, but she can hear. She hears with her legs, with her skin, with the thousands of tiny hairs that cover her body. Some of these hairs, the trichobothria, are so fine and sensitive that they can feel the slightest whisper of air, a current so gentle it is imperceptible to us. The other hairs are for touch, each one a tiny lever that sends a message to her nervous system when it is moved. Her sense of touch is her primary sense, the way she reads the story of the world. But her listening goes deeper than that. It goes into the very structure of her body. Embedded in her hard exoskeleton, especially near the joints of her legs, are thousands of microscopic organs called slit sensilla. Imagine tiny, delicate slits in her armor, covered with a thin membrane. When the slightest pressure or strain is put on her body, these slits are compressed or stretched, and a nerve beneath the membrane sends a signal. These organs, sometimes clustered together into what are called lyriform organs, are her way of reading the stresses of the world. They tell her about the position of her own limbs, giving her a perfect sense of her own body in space. They give her a sense of self, and they are how she listens to the ground. A vibration is a wave of pressure moving through the soil. When that wave reaches her burrow, it travels through the earth, through her silk trip lines, and into her 8 legs, which are planted firmly on the silk-lined walls or resting on the door itself. The vibration moves up her legs and into her body, and her thousands of slit sensilla read its message. They are so sensitive they can detect movement down to the scale of nanometers, a distance almost too small to imagine. Each of her 8 legs receives the vibration at a slightly different time and with a slightly different intensity. Her brain, a marvel of miniature engineering, compares these 8 different signals. From the tiny delays and the differences in strength, she can build a complete picture of what is happening on the surface. She can determine the location of the source, its size, its weight, and its speed. She is performing a complex calculation without thought, a kind of triangulation that uses feeling instead of sight. The burrow itself helps her listen. It is a resonance chamber designed to amplify the subtle tremors that matter and to insulate her from the meaningless noise of the world. And the silk that lines her home is not just a wall covering, it is a conductor. It is an extension of her own nervous system, woven directly into the fabric of the earth. Through this network of silk and nerves, she is in constant, intimate contact with the world above. She is the ultimate listener. She is tuned to the frequency of the ground. The world for her is not silent, it is humming with information. The soil speaks a language of vibration, and she is fluent in its grammar. The gentle sigh of the wind across the grass has its own signature. A falling leaf has another. The frantic scrabbling of an ant is different from the slow, deliberate tread of a beetle. Even the approach of a potential mate is announced by a specific rhythm, a gentle drumming on her door to signal his peaceful intentions. All of these are words, phrases, sentences in the language of the earth, and she lies in her quiet darkness, listening to it all, waiting for the one particular word she is built to understand. Chapter 4: The Rhythm of Waiting. The moon climbs higher in the sky, its light shifts, a slow, silent clock marking the passage of the night. The patches of silver on the ground creep across the grass, illuminating her hidden door for a moment before moving on, leaving it once again in shadow. Down below, in the absolute darkness, she waits. Her posture is one of perfect stillness. She is just inside the entrance of her burrow, holding on to the underside of her silken door with the claws of her front legs. Her other legs are braced gently against the soft, silk-lined walls, making her a living part of the architecture. She is motionless. She can remain this way for hours, a small, patient statue of purpose. This is her nocturnal vigil, a ritual she has performed night after night, for years. Her patience is not a feeling, it is a state of being. It is as deep and as old as the earth she inhabits. Through the network of her senses, the night unfolds as a symphony of vibrations. The constant, high-pitched song of a field cricket is not a sound to her, but a steady, gentle tremor that hums through the soil, a background rhythm that is always there. A soft breeze stirs the world above, and she feels it as a faint, papery scratching, the whisper of a dry oak leaf skittering across the ground near her door. These are the normal, ambient pulses of the living night. They are familiar. They mean safety. They mean nothing needs to be done. Other small lives move through the darkness, and she feels their passing. There is the slow, heavy drag of a pillbug, a tiny terrestrial crustacean making its way through the damp leaf litter. Its movement is a low, rumbling vibration, too slow, too heavy. It is not the signal. She lets it pass. A June beetle, clumsy and loud, flies through the night air and bumps into the stem of a weed near her burrow. The impact sends a sharp, buzzing tremor down the plant's root and into the soil. It is too chaotic, too brief. It is not the signal. She remains still. Far away, a screech owl lands on the branch of a cypress tree. The weight of its landing sends a deep, low thud through the ground, a vibration so faint it is barely perceptible. It is too distant. It is not the signal. She does not grow bored. She does not grow restless. This state of waiting is her life's work. It is not an empty time to be endured. It is a full and rich state of profound attunement. She is not doing nothing. She is doing the most important thing she can do. She is listening. She is being present. Her long life has taught her the rhythm of the world. She knows the feel of the seasons through the soil. She knows the difference between the vibrations of a summer night and a winter one. This is a patience born of deep time. It is the patience of a creature who may live for 20 years, spending thousands of nights just like this one, in the silent dark, listening. It is the patience of stone, of the slow growth of a tree root, of the gradual decay of a fallen log back into soil. It is a kind of mindfulness, a complete immersion in the present moment. She is not waiting for something to happen. She is simply waiting. She is a vessel, open and receptive to the constant stream of information the world provides, and in her stillness, she is perfectly connected to everything. She is a quiet node in the vast living network of the night. Chapter 5. A Tremor on the Silk. For a long time, the rhythm of the night remains unchanged. The gentle hum of the crickets, the soft whisper of the leaves, the slow, heavy vibrations of the small creatures that are not her concern. The world is a sea of vibrations, a constant flow of background noise, and she lets it all wash over her, through her, without reaction. Her senses are built to discriminate, to find the one important signal in the midst of all the noise. She is a filter, letting the irrelevant pass by, waiting for the note that is meant for her. And then it comes. It is a new vibration. It is small, but it is different. It is sharp and clear and distinct from the low hum of the background. It is the footstep of a small ground beetle foraging through the leaf litter, its tiny legs tapping against the earth. The vibration is a miniature drumbeat on the surface of the world, a crisp, clear syllable in the language of the ground. Let us follow this tiny signal on its journey. The wave of pressure spreads out from the beetle's foot, traveling through the tightly packed particles of soil. It is a message, moving blindly through the dark. The wave expands, growing fainter with distance, but before it fades completely, it reaches one of the silken trip lines that radiates from her hidden door. The moment the vibration touches the silk, its journey changes. The silk thread, a marvel of natural engineering, is a perfect conductor. It picks up the tiny tremor and transmits it with almost no loss of energy or clarity. The message now has a clear path. It hums along the single taut filament, a secret whispered through the night, directly to the listener at the other end. The thread is connected to the rim of her door, and her front leg is resting on the door. The vibration flows from the silk into the hardened material of the door, and then into the tip of her leg. It enters her body. It is no longer a tremor in the ground. It is a feeling inside her. The signal travels up her leg, a current of information, and is read by the intricate network of her lyriform organs, the sensitive slits embedded in her own skin. And here, in the silent computer of her nervous system, the signal is recognized. This is not a thought. It is not an emotion, like excitement or hunger. It is a simple, profound biological knowing. The frequency of this vibration, its amplitude, the staccato rhythm of the footsteps, it matches the signature of prey that is written in her very being. It is the correct signal. It is different from the low thrum of the wind. It is different from the soft tap of a falling seed. It is different from the patterned drumming of a courting male. This is the signal that means food. The beetle takes another step, and another. Closer now. Each footfall sends another clear, sharp tap through the silk, a confirmation. The message is repeated. Prey, here, now. Inside her burrow, the spider makes a single, minute adjustment, a subtle shift of her weight, a slight tensing of the muscles in her legs. It is a movement so small, it is almost non-existent, but her entire being, her every fiber, is now focused on that single vibrating point in the world above. The long, patient waiting has found its purpose. The universe of noise has resolved into a single clear signal, and she is ready. Chapter 6. The Unfolding. The moment arrives without announcement. The beetle, in its nightly wandering, moves directly over the hidden circle of the door. The vibrations are no longer a distant message traveling along a silken wire. They are here. They are immediate. A clear and present tapping, felt not just through one leg, but through her entire body, resonating through the door she holds on to. The time for listening is over. The time for action has come. But this action is not what you might imagine. There is no violent explosion of earth. There is no ferocious bursting forth. The door does not fly open. It lifts, it unfolds. It swings upward on its perfect silent silk hinge, a smooth and fluid motion. It is less like a trap springing and more like a strange earthen flower blooming in the dark, opening for a single brief second, and from the opening she emerges. Her movement is not a leap, it is not a pounce, it is a seamless liquid extension of her body out of the burrow. She flows from the deep darkness of her home into the pale silver light of the moon. In the real world, this entire event, the door opening, the capture, the retreat, is over in the blink of an eye, a flash of movement too quick for most to register. But let us slow it down. Let us watch it unfold with the same patience she has shown all night. See her body rise from the depths, her dark, polished form, a part of the earth itself, reaching out. The capture is a moment of absolute precision. Her fangs, those downward pointing tools she used to dig her home, are what she uses now to secure her meal. They make contact with the beetle's hard shell. There is no struggle, there is no fight. It is a simple, definitive connection. And just as smoothly as she emerged, she retreats. She draws herself back into the earth, pulling the beetle with her. She flows back down into the darkness, and the door, with its own weight and the pull of her leg, settles perfectly back into place. It closes with a soft finality, once again becoming a seamless, invisible part of the ground. The brief drama is over. The surface of the world is exactly as it was before. The cricket still chirps, the moon still shines, the wind still whispers. The event has left no trace. It has been absorbed back into the deep stillness of the night. Down in the darkness of her burrow, another quiet process begins. She releases a tiny drop of venom into the beetle. This fluid is not a poison in the way we think of it. It is a complex cocktail of chemicals, a transformative liquid designed for a specific purpose. It works on the beetle's nervous system, quieting its struggles, bringing a deep stillness, and it begins the slow, gentle work of digestion. It is a fluid that breaks down the solid form of the beetle from the inside, turning it into a liquid meal that she can consume. It is a quiet, internal process of dissolution. One life is being transformed to sustain another. It is the way of the world, a calm and neutral cycle, unfolding in the deep, secret quiet beneath the ground. Chapter 7: The Deepening Stillness. The door is closed. The secret is kept. Down in the silk-lined dark, the world is once again a space of absolute privacy, of profound safety. The spider is taking her meal, a slow and quiet process, hidden from all eyes, deep within the body of the earth. The brief moment of action has passed, and an even deeper stillness settles in. Above, the night continues its ancient, gentle rhythm. The field crickets still send their steady, unwavering vibrations through the soil, a song that has no beginning and no end. The moon, that silent clock, continues its slow arc across the vast, dark sky, its silver light painting the world in shifting patterns of soft glow and deep shadow. Nothing has changed on the surface. The small event, the meeting of two lives, has been completely absorbed back into the immense quiet fabric of the night, and soon the cycle will begin again. When her meal is finished, the spider will resume her posture. She will once more take hold of the silken underside of her door. She will brace her legs against the soft walls of her home, and she will return to her listening. The patient vigil will continue. It is an endless, serene loop of stillness and readiness, a rhythm as old and as dependable as the earth itself. And so we return to the earth, to the deep, dark, inky soil that holds all things, the soil that is not an ending, but a beginning, a place of quiet transformation, the rich, dark earth that cradles the burrow, that holds it safe. We return to the silken door, the perfect circle hidden in the ground, the secret made of the spider's own self, and the world around her. The door that is a boundary and a connection, the door that is a shield and a listening post. We return to the language of the ground, the gentle vibrations that travel through the soil and along the threads of silk, the whisper of the wind, the tapping of a leaf, the footstep of a beetle, a world that is not seen but felt, a world of deep, attentive listening. And we return to the waiting, to the profound and endless and peaceful patience of the quiet dark, the stillness that is not empty but full, full of the hum of the world, full of a quiet readiness, a stillness that allows everything to be just as it is. The deep dark soil, the rich patient earth, the silken door, hidden and safe, listening to the ground, listening to the quiet, waiting in the calm deep darkness, the darkness of the soil, the darkness of the night, the gentle, quiet, peaceful dark. Down, drifting down, into the quiet, into the stillness, into the deep, soft dark.